Florida.
Copy that. We got you down in Florida. Thank you very much, Duke. At this time, do we have anybody else that would like to register for the net? Please speak your name clearly and let us know what state you're in.
This is Royal from Grand Island, New York.
And you said your name was Graham, sir?
Royal.
Copy that, William. We'll get you down, and you're in New York. Thank you very much. Do we have anybody else who would like to register for the net? The floor is yours.
This is Donna in Montana checking in.
Evening, Donna. Evening. Always a pleasure to have you here, dear. Glad you made it. Do we have anybody else who would like to register for the net tonight? Even if you're monitoring, just let us know that you're monitoring, please, and we will not bother you. All right, we'll keep checking throughout the night. Just a quick announcement for everybody. We do have a pretty expansive YouTube channel. Jim does post all of our nets there, along with his expanded presentations. The expanded presentations go a little bit deeper. They also show us graphs and diagrams and pictures about everything that's explained during the net. Let me give a short break here. The YouTube channel name is at PrepNet-Talk2Me. Again, the @ like you would do in an email address, the @ at PrepNet with a capital P and a capital N -Talk2Me, and that will be the way it appears on your radio. We also have an email address, and that is prepnetch14@gmail.com. I'll give it to you one more time. That is prepnetch14@gmail.com. If you have any questions in the subject line, please put question. If you have any comments, please put comment. But feel free to send us an email and we'll get right back to you, or we may add it to our next net. I'm going to give a short break here. I just want to give one more quick shout before I hand the mic over to Jim. Do we have anybody else that would like to register for the net tonight? And again, if you would like to monitor, please feel free to let us know that you are monitoring only. Okay, I guess we'll check here throughout the net. And at this time, Jim, if you're ready, the floor is yours, sir.
Okay, copy that, Red Bear, and everybody on the net. Thank you for coming. We're going to forego our continuation of all about electricity topics this week and have an intervention instead. And the only title that I came to mind was group therapy. So I'll be the first one to start. Hello, my name is Montana Jim, and I'm an electricity addict. This presentation is being given using a 25 Elite Talk2Me radio. The script was created on and read from a laptop computer, and the net is being recorded on a tablet using the Talk2Me phone app, which connects to the internet via a wireless router and Starlink, all requiring electricity. Great. It's hard to hear, but somebody's got to say it. We are all addicted to electricity. In the next few minutes, I aim to demonstrate this and illustrate to the extent which we rely on electricity in our daily lives, as well as the importance of preparing for its potential loss. Now, when it's dark inside, you turn on an electric light and not light a kerosene lamp. To walk around outside your house when it's dark, you use a battery-powered flashlight, not light a wooden torch. To heat water for coffee or tea, or to reheat leftovers, you use your microwave or your stove. You don't go outside and start a wood fire, etc. And how do you cope when your internet, your cable, satellite, or your cell phone service goes down? Break. There are many things that use electricity that we can't just go back to the 1850s and use kerosene lamps, wooden torches, or walk or ride around on horses. Many think that those who have natural gas or propane ranges think they have an advantage over those who have electric ranges, but they don't. The gas ranges for the last 20 years have electric piezo sparks to ignite the top burners. Oh, sure. You can insist you're not an addict by saying, I can ignite them with a match. But what about the oven? It uses an electric ignition system, which pulses on and off to maintain your oven temperature. You can't use a match on that. Break. That is why I have an older gas range in my basement, which uses pilot lights, and it runs off a 5-gallon propane tank. And I can bake in an oven without electricity. Or let's say you're an hour away from running a TikTok live. Your phone needs charging, and the power went out. What do? My car, truck, ATVs, lawn tractor, and backhoe all use electricity to start. And the 9-foot snow plow on my truck uses electricity to move the blade up or down and left or right. And the same is true of my smaller snowplow on my ATV. These are only a few examples of electricity you use and you have control over. You can do something about it and continue to feed your electricity addiction. And that's okay, right? However, many other things use electricity that you can't do anything about. If you go to Walmart, fill up your basket, head to the checkout just when the power goes out. Can you check out? No. It requires electricity at Walmart or any other store to check out. And have you noticed that the people who check you out can't even give you change back without looking at the electrically powered checkout computer to tell you how much they need to give you? See, there are a lot more people than you thought about who have to have electricity. Right. Another example is the POC radio you're using right now. Sure, you can control the charging of the radio's battery, but you can't control the electricity that's needed at the cell tower, the internet backbone that your signal goes through to get to the computer server of the Talk2Me network, which routes your signal back along an internet backbone, and then to many cell towers. So you see, we all need electricity. And as I've said before, you can survive or you can thrive. And I have chosen to thrive. So my addiction is worth it. Great. So this is the reason this all about electricity topic has had so many nets with more to come. And the reason a lot of the information is kind of technical. And why we post the expanded presentations on our YouTube channel. In fact, the recording of this will be published on our YouTube channel. Be prepared to feed and control your addiction so you don't have to go cold turkey. And we are here to help you through this. Ask the question. Everyone needs to admit publicly what I have admitted. I'm Montana Jim, and I'm an electricity addict. Stand up and announce your addiction. This dramatization was brought to you by electricity. Right? This just in. As an example of how important my electricity addiction became, on early Wednesday morning, we had a big wind event here that knocked out power throughout the city I live near with wind gusts of 74 miles an hour. But it also took out my power 5 miles out of town. There were scores of fire calls for downed trees across roads, into houses, and into power lines. We had 50 plus live power lines that were also down across roads, houses, metal fences, and cars. At least 2 roofs blew off houses, with one landing in the middle of the street. Break. Without power, my well does not work, so I don't have water. But we went into water conservation mode using stored water, but I still had the ability to run my well with backup electric power. All my POC, ham, and fire department radios and their spare batteries were charged and working with the capability to recharge them without grid power. Our local ham repeater was still working and able to provide emergency communications. That repeater is located on top of a 10,000-foot mountain. In fact, this Talk2Me radio continued to work through though the power outages were widespread, allowing me to contact my son with an update of my situation. Great. All my backup lighting worked perfectly. I didn't need to implement my refrigerator and freezer backup plans, but both electric and non-electric backups were in place if needed. So without having my addiction to backup electricity, it would have been much harder for us than it was even for this local issue. Just something to think about, and sometimes an addiction is not a bad thing. And I hope everyone has a Merry Christmas. Back to Red Bear.
I will be right there. I'm just writing down one more last quick word on my notes. That's a pretty deep subject, I think, myself. Unfortunately, we all are addicted to electricity, and seeing how this is group therapy night, I'll go ahead and follow suit. This is Red Bear, and I am addicted to electricity. Currently, I am on a standard 25 rescue UHF radio talking to you all. I also am looking at a 26 Ultra Mini, and I am enjoying my electricity that is provided to me through the wall outlet in my nice warm house. And I am currently charging a standard 25 as we're speaking. So I have two lights on in my bedroom that are working off the electricity that is coming from the power company as well, to be able to provide me light because it is kind of dark here right now where I am at. And no, I do not have any torches ready as Jim was talking about, but I do have a flashlight. And the potential of those batteries being dead currently are very low, as I lucked out the other day and had to use that flashlight, and the batteries were quite weak. So I changed them out for a pair of rechargeable batteries and charged the batteries that were in it. I'm going to give a short break. I do rely on electricity for everything in my day. I constantly either have a radio or a phone in my hand. I also keep a mobile base in the car to be able to communicate while I'm away from home with my family. I'm going to give one more short break here. I do sincerely think that Jim does actually have a lot of good ideas here. You know, he was stuck in a situation due to high winds where he was out of power. I think I'm going to start maybe here after Christmas and New Year's. I'm going to start rolling out and just shutting off all the electricity in my house and challenge to see how long we can survive on a day-to-day routine without electricity. I'm going to give one more break here. Something else that Jim kind of briefly brought up, which I think deserves to have a little bit more notation on it, and that is he was talking about his plans and when he would implement them. While making your prepping plans, I strongly suggest that you handwrite everything. Yes, you could type everything up in your computer and print it off. That would work just as well, if not better, because you'll get some spelling corrections if need be, like myself. But still, have a hard copy of your plans along with when to implement said plans. Something Jim did bring up in his example there, what they had to live through after the high winds, was he lucked out and he did not have to power his refrigerators or freezers. So that was a big plus. But he was already thinking about it in the back of his mind when it would be best to implement that part of his prepping plans. Let me give one more break here. All right, we're going to start moving down the list here in just a second. I want to check, do we have anybody else that would like to register for the net? Please speak your name clearly and let us know what state you're in. And again, if you're monitoring only, please let us know and we will not bother you.
Hey, Red Bear, I'm just here so I don't get fined. No, I'm just listening, man. This is my first time here, so just no, I heard a lot of good things so far, and yeah, carry on. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim James. I'll put you down as monitoring then. Do we have anybody else that would like to register? All right, we'll continue on. I'm going to start with TC there. TC, what are your thoughts on the topic tonight? And do you have any questions, sir?
I just gotta say, that's a subject we gotta get to eventually. Everybody uses electricity. We got lights, we got an oven, we got a stove, we got a microwave, and we got computers. Everybody's got computers and phones. You gotta charge all that. But it's always good to prepare. I think you never know what happens. There could be a doomsday. There could be a power outage. There could be a big storm, and then you're going to need to cook something, but you ain't got your electric stove working. We have a wood stove. We got solar panels and inverters. It's good to be prepared, in my opinion. I think that was a very nice topic y'all did today.
Thank you, TC. Do you have any questions on anything?
No, sir, I do not think so.
Copy that, brother. Copy that. So, guys, TC is 12 years old, and he's into this pretty heavy with us. We're glad to have the younger generation here learning with alongside of us. And Montana Jim and myself, Red Bear here, we do actually consider that very important, that we're able to reach the youth also and help them learn about this. We strongly believe this is very important. So, TC, thank you for being here, man. That's awesome. Give a quick break here. Going to keep moving down the list. JW, the floor is yours if you have any comments or questions tonight.
Yes, sir. Me being a welder, I built my own fire wood stove. Wood stove. It's kind of hard to find wood stove nowadays. Have a little radio issue. Forgive that. And also on the water, my father-in-law had a shallow water well. They used to use a electric pump on it to pump the water out of the ground. But everybody's went to the rural water system. They depend on somebody else to pipe their water to them. So what I did is I went to Tractor Supply. I got a siphoning check valve, hooked it up on PVC pipe, and hooked it up to where I could go down below the water line, down that water well pipe, and I made me a siphoning well, just like the old timers used to do in the old days. You pump it up and down, and it creates a suction vacuum. It'll suck that water right out of the ground. So at least I can have some drinking water.
Copy that, JW. Yeah, it's very important to think about what needs you're going to need to cover when the grid goes down. If you do lose power for any reason, and heat and water are definitely very big things to think about. And if you do find a new wood stove nowadays, the steel is just not going to be the quality that it used to be, unfortunately. So how long is that wood stove really honestly going to last you? Whereas in a situation like JW's, he's a welder, he built his own. I'm willing to bet, JW, you bought yourself some good grade steel. Am I correct on that?
Yes, sir. most of the wood stoves you see are pretty thin metal, especially the new models. But the thicker the metal, the more radiant heat you get off of that iron. And as long as you have good welds, good hinges, and good mace to keep it functioning properly, it'll last a lifetime.
Copy that, copy that. Yeah, when I was a kid, we growing up, we did have a wood stove in the house, and me and my brother got to learn the joys of splitting and stacking wood, bringing wood in the house. And as a matter of fact, our ash catch tray in the bottom of it, we actually burned that out a couple different times. That was very thin metal, but that was replaceable and easy. It wasn't nearly as expensive as replacing the rest of the wood stove. I remember when that got moved into the house, my dad and my two uncles fought for hours just trying to get it up on the porch, much less in the patio door. So they're pretty heavy, aren't they, JW? All right. I guess we'll continue on. Knife Man in Michigan. Knife Man, what's your thoughts on tonight's topic, sir?
For the great topic. And I would like to admit that I am a power addict and a POC addict. And I have no questions.
Copy that, Knife Man. Glad you're here. It gives you something to think about, don't it?
Yes, it does. Trying to figure out what I need to do to go off the grid if I need to.
Copy that, copy that. All right, we're going to check one more time here. Do we have anybody else that would like to register for the net tonight? Please state your name clearly. Let us know what state you're in and we'll get you registered. Okay, we'll keep moving then. Duke in Florida. Duke, what is your thoughts, or do you maybe have any questions on tonight's topic?
Yeah, well, thank you for the reminders on all of that, because being from Miami, I've gone through many hurricanes, many power losses. Hurricane Andrew, where we lost it for a while. I was fortunate at my house to have only lost it for a few days because our grid was on the main road, but others had it for weeks, and then subsequent hurricanes down the line always had a generator ready to go. Camping stoves, backup propanes, and propane grill, all that good lining. But you always forget to go check your generator, start it up every so often, prep it, keep it, in our sense, summarized, the winterized for northerners, I'm sure, but keep it ready and prepared to go. So it's something you always forget about during non-peak seasons for our sense of it. But yeah, no questions on this end, though.
Copy that, Duke. Yes, definitely. I can speak here in Michigan, and I'm sure Montana Jim will speak up also on that. Winterizing your generators during the winter, if you don't plan on using them, is very, very important. Currently, I've got mine in my living room upstairs just so it's closer and it's inside. It's kind of an eyesore, but we've had some weather lately that kind of made us feel like we were going to lose power, so we wanted to be prepared. I could very easily roll that out the door on the back porch. I've already got a 100-pound propane cylinder hiding back there to hook up to it so that I can supply power to a few things around my house. So that is a nice thing there. Give a short break. William in New York, do you have any comments or any questions on tonight's topic for discussion?
Sure, but I just want to make one small correction. It's Royal, not William. Royal, Royal.
Royal. I am very sorry, Royal. I will correct that right now. Thank you very much. Go ahead, though, Royal. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, thank you. So I too, my name is Royal. I am addicted to electricity. I am a drone pilot who owns a small business, and without electricity, my drones don't operate. My batteries don't charge, and my power station is worthless. So I have a power station that, in case anything goes out as far as the electricity or whatever, we thought a little bit outside the box with this power station that I carry in my vehicle that is actually mobile, which is a good idea for charging batteries out in the field in case you're only going, in case it extends the batteries that you have. You're in constant rotation of charging your batteries if you're on in a project longer than, say, 30 minutes. Small break. So with this power station, though, thinking outside the box, in case of an electricity blackout or something along those lines where our refrigerator is down or our deep freezer is down or whatever, we can plug it into this power station and it will go for as long as hopefully until the power comes back on. But it's equipped to keep it going for about 32 to 34 hours. So we're not thinking that's too bad for now. I mean, it's a little more than a day, but you know, for most individuals in an apartment complex, you don't really see something like that, and you don't really hear of people preparing like that in case of those situations. Small break. And then again, while I'm out in the field, it is I'm able to again utilize electricity through my vehicle. I charge the power station as well as charging the batteries that are in the battery hub for the drone. The drone is not operable unless it has batteries. So in any field project, whether it be construction monitoring, I'm doing a showcasing for a realty company, or even for an insurance claim or such, anything similar to these things, I'm going to have the power station on me. So it's definitely utilized in everything we do. Right now, I'm actually at the TV. I'm on the phone. I'm on my standard 25. Small break. So in prepping for certain things small right now, we are extending ourselves. We want to probably invest in a couple of things such as a Faraday bag to protect the power station, or to protect the other variety of radios that we have in case of an emergency, that we'll have to utilize these radios for comms, et cetera, et cetera. So we're not as high tech as some of these things that I've heard over the radio already. Holy moly, you guys, awesome. That's incredible. The goal is to have more of a plan and more of a foundation such as that. So definitely going to be learning a lot from everyone. And I'm just glad to be here and welcome everyone else.
Copy that, Duke. Glad to have you here, brother. This is Duke's first time actually registering for a net tonight and being part of the conversation. So I want to thank you for being here. And you brought up a really big key point. I did spend a few years living in apartment complexes myself. And that's something when you're living in an apartment complex, you really don't think about when the power goes out or natural disaster or anything like that, where the grid's going to be down a while. You don't think about it, unfortunately. And it's kind of nice, you're starting to learn and you've already got that battery pack right now, so you're getting somewhere. And now you're getting more curious into prepping. So you're going to be amazed how many people in your apartment complex are, once you start getting more involved, you're going to realize how many people around you they don't care. It's scary. So, but thank you again, Royal, for being here. And I am very sorry that I totally botched your name, sir.
Apologies needed. Thank you so much. So I appreciate it.
Going to give one more quick check here before we move on to Donna. Do we have anybody else who would like to register for the net? Please speak your name clearly and let us know what state you're in. And if you're only monitoring, just let us know, if you would, that you're monitoring, and we will not bother you. All right. All right. We're going to get down here to Donna. Donna in Montana. Donna, what's your thoughts on the topic tonight, being addicted to electricity?
Oh my goodness, yes. I have to say that my house was affected by that power outage last week too. And as much of a pain in the back as it is to get that firewood up and into the house, I was so glad for our wood stove that day because it was cold. Small break. But the biggest inconvenience for me that whole day was I couldn't run my sewing machine. I have a small craft business and I had planned to do some sewing and well, I couldn't do it that day and it kind of made me a little mad.
Copy that. Yeah. Here in Big Rapids, Michigan, 2 nights ago? No, it was last night. We had gusts of up to 50 mile an hour, and my one dog that usually sleeps in the bed with us decided he wasn't sleeping in here. He was a little too nervous about the wind and the noise it was making in our bedroom, so he moved in with my daughter. But I spent a good part of the night awake worrying, is the power going to go out? Because it was quite cold out last night, and it doesn't take long in the middle of the winter when you lose power for the cold to start sneaking into the house. So I was up thinking about that a good part of the night last night. I'm going to give a short break here. One last quick call to see if we have anybody else that would like to register for the net tonight. Just go ahead and give us your name and what state you're in. We'll get you registered. And if if you've been monitoring and you would like to register, that would mean a lot to us. Okay. Hey, Jim, I'm going to give the mic back to you real quick for any thoughts or questions that you've got for anybody with the information that they've presented tonight.
Okay, real good. I took some notes too. Brought to you by electricity, of course. Sorry, this wasn't a real technical one, guys, but I realized that this all about electricity thing was much longer than what I had originally anticipated. I mean, like 5 times longer. I figured 3. And we just finished, I think, 10 or 11, and like I said before, there's a bunch more to go. So I just wanted people to sort of think about this, that the reason it's so long is everybody uses it and needs it, and you better prepare for it, or you're going to be in a big round of hurt. Let me break quick. So I'm going to go down my list. Now, Red Bear made the comment that, after the holidays, he's going to shut the electricity off and see how it goes. That is absolutely an excellent idea. It is also a very hard thing to do. For those of you that have listened or watched our expanded presentations, you do know I turn around and say, not only do you need to make your plans, but you have to test your plans to make sure that they're going to work, and then you use your tests to make improvements, etc. So being able to do that is and doing the fortitude, yeah, I'm going to do it, especially getting the buy off of, of your significant other and your children and such, is a big and a really good way to do things. Let me break. JW, before the net started, made a comment, and he's made this before, and I totally agree with it, is you need to have hard copies of important materials, manuals, etc. So if you do canning, you need to have canning manuals. You cannot remember all the different recipes and, well, gee, is it 70 minutes for pints or is it 90 minutes for pints, or what the deal is? You need to have that written down, and do not rely on your phone or your tablet or your computer. You can have that stuff on it, but you really need to have a hard copy. In one of the future nets, I will be providing a link to a place that I have been following for many, many, many years. And they have a magazine that puts out this type of information, and you can turn around and purchase what they call them their anthologies, which are all of the articles they have. So you can get a good background into that. Let me break again. Yeah, he was JW was talking about the shallow well thing and making a PVC pump for a shallow well. Absolutely great idea. As you know, I have a well. I have ways to power that well. It is a deep well. It requires 240 volts. And so I either have generators or my actual solar electric system can do a 240 volt split phase. But I also built a PVC deep well pump. And yes, they work. So it's not something I want to do because every pump you only get maybe 20 ounces of water, so you're not going to do it to draw a bath. But it's a good thing to have backups to your backups. So let me break and continue on here if you'll let me do it. Nice, man. He said something we all know. We are all not only electricity addicts, but we are POC addicts. I don't think there are many people out there that only have one of these radios. They're extremely addicting, and when the grid's up, or not necessarily the grid up, but as long as the cell service is up, these are actually fantastic radios. And Duke sort of talked about, generators and stuff, and yeah, you do need to winterize them or use a fuel stabilizer. And Red Bear had made the mention of he has his generator inside the house. I have one of my generators inside the house. Not that I'm running it inside the house, but it can get minus 20, minus 30 degrees up where I'm at, and I don't want that sitting outside because it makes it a heck of a lot harder to start. So that's not necessarily, if somebody thought that's kind of strange. No, it's actually not a bad idea. And let me break, hopefully, one more time. Okay, Royale was talking about the mobile power station for his drones. That's a good start to get you thinking about what other places do I need to have backup electricity or backup anything, but since we were talking about electricity. So that's a good start. Start where you can afford it, and build upon that. And Donna happened to mention that when that power outage happened up here in Montana, that she was gonna go down and do sewing. Now, technically, she could have done that because she had backup power, but she chose not to because when things happen, you do have to prioritize what is it worth me powering, because I don't know how long the power is going to be out, so I don't need to be watching Netflix or something when the power's out, not knowing what's going to happen. And let me do one more quickie. And I would consider anything that you have a electric backup for. If there is a non-electric backup, you should have that in place as a last resort, such as your refrigerator. Can you power the refrigerator from a generator? Sure, but you're going to run out of fuel. Can you power the refrigerator through a solar system? Yes, you can, but you really have to have an extremely large system to do it for any prolonged time. So think about other ways that if that happened, you have something in place. Coolers, if it's in the wintertime up here, I'm going to fill coolers with, go outside, dump them with snow, and that's going to be my cooling, but that's the worst backup. And of course, as I said before, you need to have backups to the backups to the backups. So, as they say, 1 is none, 2 is 1, 3 is 2, and you'll sort of figure that out. Anyway, I'll throw it back to Red Bear because I probably blabbed on long enough.
Copy that, Jim. Thank you very much. So, yeah, we've actually had a good couple of key points brought up in tonight's net, I think. So, and I'm going to throw a challenge to everybody on the net tonight. Over the next week, I realize, we have the holidays coming up. Christmas is coming this week. I'm going to challenge you to think about one thing where you have to use electricity, be it battery operated or even, turning the light on in the house or the heat kicking in or the AC kicking in if you live in a warmer state. Think about this. What could I honestly not live without when the power goes out? Ask yourself that. Prioritize a little bit. All right, guys, I just want to check. Do we have any other comments or questions? The floor is yours, if so.
I just have a quick comment going back to what Jim said about going to the grocery store and if the power goes out. I worked at Walmart for many years, and let me tell you, when the power went out, we had to kick people out, and they did not like it. They did not like it. They couldn't understand, break, why we couldn't check them out. And they couldn't get through their heads that those registers cannot work without power. And also the emergency lights only last for so long, so it would be very dark in there.
That's very true. That is very true. I was just thinking back to when I was a kid. I mean, when you went into the local grocery store, which was nothing the size of a Walmart, you went grocery shopping with mom. The lady at the register, the cashier there, she had a cash box and everything was priced, and she rang everything up real quick with a little calculator, and that's how she did it, and that's how you paid. People were still walking around putting cigarette butts out on the floor, though. So that's how much times have changed and how dependent we are nowadays on electricity. If the power would have went out, you still could have shopped in the store. It would have been all right. Because, after dark, the store was closed anyways. And you still could have paid for whatever you bought. I'm going to give a quick break. Do we have any other comments or questions tonight?
Yeah, Red Bear. This is JW. If you really want to think about how the old timers used to do things back in the day, you got to think about the way they lit their house, coal oil lamps, candles, and how they cooked their food, wood stoves, and there was no electricity in some of these houses. And these people lived pretty simple lives, but they survived because they learned how to do it over the years and generations. We, as a new generation, have gone by all those things and have gone by the wayside. We don't teach our younger generation how the old timers did it. And that's something that we need to get back to doing, because not only us that are going to know how to do it, but if something does happen, a big EMP or something like that, that takes down a big part of the country, all these people that don't know how to do it, but they still have guns, they're going to look for the lights at night, and they're going to come get what you got. So that's another thing to talk about as well, your safety. We all have to think about our safety of our family and friends. And you need to keep a lot of things under cuff and not broadcast it to the whole world what you're capable of doing. Because one day someone may come try to take it from you. And we don't want that to happen. That's just a thought that everybody needs to think about.
Very true, JW. We have talked about that a little bit in earlier nets too. So there was conversation. Jim had stated that he had a neighbor down the road that said, "I'll just come and get what I need from you. I don't need to do anything." And there are people that think that way. Do we have any other comments or questions tonight?
one quick comment. I don't know if any one of you remember that California earthquake back in 1989. The Loma Prieta earthquake, that 7.1 registered Richter scale. Just so happened at the time that happened, my house was on the fault line, and it shook the heck out of the house. Power went out everywhere, and it took the power 1 week, 6 days before the power came back on. And also, my neighbor's house went up the side of the house, and it cracked the gas meter. Everybody decided to, for safety reasons, everybody decided to camp out, pitched up tents and camped outside of the house, because also during the night after that main quake, we had several aftershocks, pretty strong aftershocks. The power, like I said, did not come back on for 1 week after the main earthquake. So that's the thing we need to learn, the how do you call it, survival. We should have a survival kit made up in case of disasters like this, so we can cook our food, and sorry, break. Keep an eye on our neighbors. Make sure everyone of us are okay, and don't let it happen. Don't wait until a disaster happens to, get things done, if you know what I'm trying to say. And that we we had fun. The main thing out there, I mean, it's not fun that your house is damaged, but the safety part. We watched over each other, and that was the thing. Now I'll let the channel go for now. Thank you.
Thank you for that, 719. Much appreciated, sir. So how did the community do? Did everybody kind of join together at that time? Or did everybody just kind of stick to themselves?
Yeah, right there. Actually, the community, rallied around each other. We even had our police force came out and checked the area, and they
Copy that. Well, Jim, do you have any last thoughts or comments before we call this a night, sir?
Yeah, I got a couple. One on JW about the security thing. Yeah, I totally agree. We have covered some of that. We will be having in the future some nets, and you're hearing my pager go off here. Don't worry about it. On security, and the first thing about security is you don't want to be noticed. So, yep, got that. And 719. I was there in San Francisco when that Loma Prieta earthquake hit. I was just starting to give a video editing class at a college, and it hit, and it broke my main bridge that was down for about a month or so. Collapsed a double-deck freeway. 70 some odd people were killed just in that. Trapped for a week. It was bad, and sort of what Red Bear says. Yeah, the community did come together on that. because it was really a horrific thing. But again, that's just the proof. You need to prepare now. Don't wait. And even if you do a little bit today and you do a little bit next week or next month, do something. At that, I'll throw it back to net control.
719 with one more comment regarding that.
Go ahead, 719.
The thing is, we bound together. We helped out each other, assist those that need it. I remember seeing part of the San Francisco Oakland Bay Bridge, one section of the bridge that collapsed from the top to the bottom. The fire in the district, it severed the water mains to the hydrants, and it took the firefighters and civilians connected hoses out to the bay to draft water to fight that fire. And you never seen. Let me unkey for a second. You have never seen citizens of San Francisco bound together like that. They even did traffic control. When the signal lights went out, they made sure everybody stopped at the stoplight and proceeded when they're told to. The city was in a mess. I mean, traffic-wise, especially leaving the Candlestick Park during Game 3 of the World Series between the A's and the Giants. The traffic getting out there was horrendous. So, everybody bound together.
Copy that. Well, hey, guys, before we wrap this up, I just want to let you know again one more time that YouTube channel we have. The name of that is the @ at PrepNet-Talk2Me. Again, that is at PrepNet-Talk2Me. PrepNet will have a capital P and a capital N, and Talk to Me will look like it does on your radio. Go ahead and check out some of the videos there and really check into those expanded presentations, guys. Jim does a lot of hard work on those, so we want to give him the credit he deserves for that. And I want to thank everybody who showed up and registered. If it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't have this net. So thank you very much. Y'all have a good rest of your night out here, what's left of it, and good start to your week this coming week. And Merry Christmas to everybody.
Good night, all.
Good night from California. Switching back to Channel 2.
Good night, everyone, and Merry Christmas.
Night, Merry Christmas from South Louisiana.
Great job as always, right there with this.
Hey, PC, go to our 0.
10-4.
Absolutely great job, everybody. Thanks for the input, and thanks for just having the group. This is awesome.